Hey guys, it's Brad from JBHMEDIA here. I'm back again with another Blender 3D shot breakdown. In this episode I'm going to talk about this third shot from my sci-fi trailer you can see here. As you can see, it's a simple shot in the way that the camera doesn't really move much, but I don't in this case think that the simplicity is a bad thing. Remember, sometimes less is more depending on the look you are going for. Moving on to the breakdown, here's the basic model without textures. Other than the flag on the top right, I didn't really model any of this scene. I actually simply downloaded and imported the two 3D models into the shot. Both models are from blendSwap.com. Anyway, the modeling for the robot has good detail, but nothing too over the top. Most of the interior of the helicopter is made up of basic geometry, planes and cylinders, so a lot of detail in this particular shot had to come in creating the materials. So the main difficulty in creating the materials to the shot was just making sure the robot's textures were wrapped or projected in a way that would be appropriate around a human scale figure. A big mistake a lot of people make is just throwing an image texture on a model and expecting it to look photorealistic. The realism often comes in the details, so in the case of the robot in this shot, I really had to pay attention about where the rough edges would be and how that should affect specularity and roughness in the real world. That said, in general, the robot's texture consists of a diffuse layer with a striped image and a large, detailed asphalt specular map. Moving forward, the interior of the helicopter is a basic, rough concrete texture with some detailed bumps and its corresponding specular map. And the minigun material, believe it or not, is just a rubber image diffuse texture mixed with a aniscopic shader to give it a slight glossy and scratched up look. For the waving flags material, I had to try something a bit different from the typical diffuse and glossy mixed node setup. Instead, I used a diffused layer of an old cloth texture mixed with a velvet BSDF node. I then mixed in a translucent node in order to get some light passing through the cloth. So one of the things I wanted to do in this image was add a little bit of extra movement. Yes, the background movement is probably enough to get the viewer to get an idea of what's going on, but I was in the mood for a bit of experimentation in that sense. So the first thing I did to add some more movement was add a cloth simulation to the flag on the right. I was actually surprised how easy this was. After adding a cloth modifier to the flag, I simply pinned two of its corners down to the helicopter so it wouldn't blow away, and then added some strong horizontal wind to get it to kind of flap in the wind there. Finally, the last technique I used to add a bit of motion was add some subtle clouds passing over from right to left. Now this effect I actually did in After Effects after I had rendered the original animation, but I have no doubt that a similar or better result could be achieved in Blender. Basically what I did is I generated some fractal noise in After Effects and then animated it to move from right to left. I then overlaid it onto the original shot to get that cloud movement. Great, so moving back inside of Blender, if we render this right now with an HDRI map of a field, we get this image here. I was pretty happy with this image, but as usual I decided to do some slight tweaking in the compositor. So the first thing I did in the compositing process was animate this environment image from right to left to give the effect of a moving background. I did this by using keyframes on the X values of a basic transform node attached to the image. After animating the image, I added some basic blur to blend it into the shot a bit better. As usual in compositing the final image together, I added some glare nodes, a quick color grade, brought the saturation down a bit, and then darkened the image with an RGB curves node. And yeah, after overlaying the moving clouds in After Effects, I got this final image. So that's the basic setup of this shot, folks. I'm actually quite surprised it came out this well, as the texturing of the models started out quite rough. I definitely think the waving flag and clouds added just enough subtle movement to bring the shot to life. So keep that in mind for those of you who want to add some subtle realism to your shots. So that's it, folks. Like and favorite this video if you thought it was helpful. Comment below if you have any questions or suggestions on what should be the next quick tip, and I'll be sure to respond. Don't forget to check out the JBHMEDIA Facebook page in the description below if you want to get the latest updates, and if you're interested, take a look at the action sci-fi trailer this shot was created for in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.